You're listening to Talk in the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. And now, your host.
Good evening, good morning, wherever you may be listening to the show. I am Paranormal Phil, and tonight we are going to be talking about lack of communication in relationships with my guest, Peter Spinogatti. And tonight we're going to get into all that. So please welcome to the show, Peter.
Pleased to be here.
Great to have you on the show. So, tell us a little bit about lack of communication, how you wrote the book on lack of communication.
Well, you may have noticed that whenever there's a relationship problem, what always pops up is lack of communication. But I would suggest to you that that's really the epiphenomenon. What I mean is that's not really the problem because there seems to be something that goes on all the time. But for example, in a relationship, it is impossible for people to always agree on whatever's going on. I mean, she's a woman, he's a man, people are different. So the problem is, since disagreement is inevitable, in other words, there's always going to be disagreement, that's not the problem. The problem is how to disagree agreeably. You've heard that's kind of a cliche.
Mm.
And the reason why people have a problem is not because of disagreement per se, but rather because when people disagree, what happens with most people, now even when it's not intended, when people disagree, people feel put down. Now, very often people are put down. People are put down, and it's usually done by a tone of voice. I mean, you may say something like, "Well, do you believe that?" The tone of voice is what people pay attention to, and that's a put down. And even when you're not being put down, most people, when they're disagreed with, deduce that they're being put down. So the problem begins at the point that people feel put down when they disagree. That's really the source of the problem. The content doesn't much matter. Now, if people disagreed agreeably, which means that they didn't feel put down, then it would go very well. As a matter of fact, disagreement, when it's done properly, can invigorate a conversation. You wouldn't want a person to agree with everything you say, but to disagree agreeably is the name of the game, and most people do it rather badly. So what happens is, all you get at that point is you're going to get conflict, and nothing. Once a person feels put down, nothing that happens afterwards is going to make the slightest bit of difference, because at that point you have an argument. So the thing to remember when you talk to anybody, particularly when you talk to, for example, your partner or whatever, you must understand that it must not begin with being put down. If you do not feel put down and nobody is being put down, I assure you, the conversation would be very pleasant.
Yeah.
That's really the source of the problem. So it's really not lack of communication that's the problem, but what's lacking in the communication. Now, incidentally, there are some people out there that you ought not to be married to, but they're in a minority. I mean, most people come to a relationship, with unresolved issues. I mean, most people, I suspect, I think would have some doubts as to their intelligence, as to their, as to how well they express themselves, that sort of thing, and they're very sensitive. And so what happens in a relationship is that stuff is sort of triggered when people do it properly. So let's put this in red, glaring letters. Communication will never be a problem unless somebody feels put down. Pay attention to that, and things will go smoothly.
Now, is it is it really about, like, maybe possibly rejection, or is it something else that causes that lack of communication?
No, it's an excellent question. No, it's all about rejection. But remember, rejection only hurts when what you're being rejected for is something you kind of play around with, like you believe. In other words, if a person rejects you and you have absolutely no reason to believe that you're rejected, you have no problem. But that's not how most people behave. Most people, let's face it, most people fear rejection. Most people, for example, are in a chronic state of self-apology. There's nothing to put people down, but it's just how they rejected, these are very rare people. So what's normal means that most people have that sensitivity. And so it's all about rejection. Put it to this way. If you had two people, this would be a rare event, two people who were self-assured, self-confident, and didn't fear rejection, you'd have a very lovely relationship. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen in most relationships. People enter a relationship already with unresolved issues, and that shows up in the relationship. Matter of fact, you notice the focus is always on the relationship, but that's really not very, very helpful because, to use a crude example, like when people have bad sex, they tend to blame this. They're not going to blame the bed. The problem started before they got into the bed, in the heads of the people before they got into the bed. And so if you look at the relationship as a symbolic of the bed, the relationship is where it shows up. So if two people, each of whom have unresolved issues, and they get married, marriage is not going to resolve it for them. What has to be resolved are the individual problems of the people involved. So it's really all about rejection, Phil. Yeah.
Okay, so now what? Let's see. Trying to figure out. Is there a solution for this rejection, lack of communication?
Well, yeah, it's really. Let's see if I can make it uncomplicated. Look, each individual has to take responsibility for their own self-doubt. The other person can't do it for them. What we constantly do, we're constantly looking for reassurance from the other person that they find us desirable. And really the key is, for example, to have some sort of confidence in yourself that there's nothing about you that you should have to apologize for. So the relationship really is not the key issue. The key issue is each individual has to decide or has to figure out what it is about them that they think is rejectable. And once that's solved, then the relationship is guaranteed.
Okay.
In other words, it comes down to this. People get unhappy. They're not satisfied with themselves. They get married. And marriage is not a cure-all. It's not a panacea, you know. And as each person says, they take responsibility for the fact that they have their own self-doubts that have to be solved. Then you have a very good chance of having a good relationship. But I think the focus is all wrong when we talk about the relationship because we tend to think about things. Each individual exists in and of themselves, and we ought not be looking at the relationship, but we ought to be looking at the individuals.
Okay, now, now, can toxic relationships be a lot of kind of the cause for some of the lack of communication?
Say that again, Phil.
Can like toxic relationships be some of the reason for lack of communication?
Well, toxic relationship is rather interchangeable with lack of communication. If you mean by toxic, the two people are in a constant state of conflict. Okay, but why are they in a state of conflict? Because each of them wants from the other person what the other person can't give them. You know, we use this word toxic, but what does the word toxic really mean? It means that they're fighting that conflict. They're having a conflict.
Yeah.
Right? People fight all the time, and they fight badly because each of them, are pointing the finger at the other person. But what they really have a problem is that they have a problem with themselves. You know, so I'm saying that what you call toxic is just two people who are immersed in self-doubt and have a problem, and that's going to show up in the relationship.
Now, what is approach that should be taken when there is that lack of communication?
Well, here's what we have to do. First of all, let's take something immediate. Let me repeat what I said earlier. Okay. Whenever you have a conversation with someone in a relationship, make sure, zero in on what I call the subtext. In other words, not the technical. The specifics don't really matter what they argue about. I'm saying that people, you can have a different point of view. There's no problem there. As long as you remember, when you talk to them, the first thing you want to remind yourself.
Hold on. Sorry.
That you remind yourself and you remind them that I want you to know I'm not putting you down. I want you to know all we're doing right now is having a disagreement. Now, you may be able to persuade the other, but the other person may be able to persuade you. In either case, nobody may be persuaded. But as long as nobody feels put down, it's not going to be a problem. I mean, that's how you disagree agreeably. I mean, I can't stress this enough. This is key.
Yeah, because I know a lot of especially with me, a lot of relationships have ended because there was that lack of communication, and there wasn't really arguments or anything about it. It was just the other person didn't feel the need to communicate. And I know it goes both ways, both men and women, but now how do we get, well, I know I probably asked this before, but how do we get past something like that when there is a lack of communication where the other person doesn't want to talk and it ends up in just without disagreements or arguments or anything like that?
Yeah, but as soon as the other person wants to talk, doesn't want to talk, I mean, there's nothing more to be done because they've already made the first error, you know. I know it seems what I'm saying is somewhat radical because in most cases people, when they talk about relationships, they focus on the relationship, you know. But what I'm saying is that's the wrong focus, you know. That's the wrong focus. It was okay. In other words, look, first of all, maybe I'll give you another handle on this. I've noticed that, for example, that when people come to see me, there are three possible categories of people. Now, one of the most important things, critical things, is affection. In other words, if you have two people who are mutually affectionate, that covers a lot of ground, incidentally. If you have two people who are mutually affectionate, that relationship is virtually guaranteed to succeed. Now, you're never going to get two people who are unaffectionate because they never get together in the first place.
Yeah.
The group that you usually get is somebody who's affectionate and somebody who's not terribly affectionate. I mean, that's virtually just 99% of anybody I would come in contact with. As I say, if both people are affectionate, that covers an awful lot of psychological territory, and because it means that they really look out for each other. Okay. So then the question is this. So if you can get two people to be mutually affectionate, you can virtually guarantee the success of a marriage.
Yeah.
Okay? So far, so good. Now, here's the key. So say, well, why is it that people who decide to get married or decide to get a relationship, why is it that one person is more affectionate than the other? Now, you don't have to be a nuclear scientist, to know, for example, that if you love somebody and if you care for somebody, I mean, simply to show it. It can be done in a million ways. I mean, by touching them, by complimenting them, appreciating them. I mean, that it doesn't require great sophistication to know that a person that you love would love to feel appreciated by the other person, but the other person invariably holds back.
Yeah.
Now you would say, and that's normal, unfortunately. Normal should not be considered desirable in this case.
Yeah.
So then you can say, well, why does that happen? Why does that happen? Well, I'm going to tell you something which probably very few people have ever known about. I said, well, why is it that people aren't expressive? Why is it that people simply, I mean, you care about somebody and you show you care about somebody? As I say, if you have mutually affectionate couple, that relationship is virtually guaranteed. Now, I'm going to tell you something very odd. Why do you think it is that some people aren't as affectionate as the other person? What would your guess be?
I mean, they just don't feel the same way. I mean, now, like I said, I've always been the one that's kind of shown affection, a lot of affection towards the women that I date, but I might have overdone it a little bit also sometimes.
Well, it depends why you show affection. I mean, you may be showing affection out of insecurity, or you may show affection out of genuine appreciation. In other words, if you're showing affection as a way of getting them to like you, well, that's not as desirable as it. It's like this: you see somebody you like. I mean, take what is probably the most significant gesture a person can make. They hug them. A hug is a very, very powerful gesture, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And you know how many people have a difficulty in hugging?
There are quite a few.
Quite a few, but I'm going to tell you something that you probably never heard of. Matter of fact, you can even see it in kids. Like sometimes you see a kid, And the kid will be, some kids you can hug and they'll hug you right back, and some kids won't hug you right back. You say, why is that? Well, I think I figured it out. You ready for a big expose?
Yeah, I'm ready for this because.
Okay, I'll tell you. Because here's what happens. You see, if you have a relationship, one person is expressive, demonstrative, and they show, they embrace easily, and the other one doesn't. The other one doesn't. Now, I'm not going to make the other person some kind of Machiavellian villain, but they do it quite deliberately. You say, well, why don't you? Because I've dealt with people over a lot of years. They say, how is it that you don't reciprocate? And invariably they'll say, well, I don't know. But I know, and I'll pursue, and I'll persist. I say, come on. I said, what are you afraid would happen if you just let it all hang out? What are you afraid would happen if you just let yourself embrace the other person? You know what they invariably say?
What's that?
I surprise you. They say, if I embrace them and I show them I love them, then they'll know how much I care about them, and then maybe they'll reject me in the future. Because that's what I do. In other words, they're afraid to let themselves express their love for you, because they're afraid somehow if they're exposing themselves and that you can hurt them.
Yeah, that fear of rejection and everything like that. That
we're back to rejection, Phil.
Yeah.
Right. And so what happens is they don't do it because they're afraid. They're afraid to let themselves do it. I mean, I see people. I mean, you even see with people generally. I mean, we would agree that hugging, embracing somebody is probably the most powerful physical gesture you can demonstrate towards another human being. I think you have to agree with that. And everybody kind of knows that. You don't have to be a genius to figure that one out. However, they deliberately, maybe deliberately is too strong, but they withhold because they're afraid. They're afraid if they show you how much they care about you, that you're going to reject them and hurt them. Now that's probably the best kept secret I've ever heard. I mean, there's a book out nowadays. Somebody has referred it to me. It's a bestseller. It's called The 5 Languages of Love. And I read the book. I didn't read the book. I read about it. And the whole book is really, I mean, they say, well, these are the things you should do in order to demonstrate the other person, why the other person, that you love the other person. But what the author missed was, why do you have to encourage people to be affectionate? It should be obvious. Well, I just told you why.
Yeah.
Because if you demonstrate affection, if you show affection, you're afraid to get hurt. And then what happens is the other person starts to feel rejected, and they start to feel bad. And then that's what puts a great strain on the relationship. But the lack of affection was not designed to do that. I mean, and I'll tell you how powerful it is. For example, if let's say the man gets upset by this whole thing, he's not had enough of this, he's about to leave. You know what invariably happens if they actually have planned to leave? The partner becomes very affectionate.
Yeah.
Because they know they overplayed their hand. And then unfortunately what happens down the road, 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road, they go back to square one. But so it's not a permanent fix, because the fear of the other person rejecting them ultimately is not easy to overcome. Unless you're dealing with maybe, if you're talking to me, I can help them show them why they do that to themselves.
Yes. Now, what is phatic communication? Why do most men know nothing about this form of communication?
Okay, yeah, well, that's a very good. There's a thing, I won't get too academic with you, but there's a form of communication called phatic communication, P-H-A-T-I-C. Now, when men and women get together, very often they have a conflict that comes from a different source, because sometimes a woman will complain to a man. And then when a woman complains about something on her mind, something troubling her, for most men, that is an invitation to solve a problem. And so the man proceeds to say, well, okay, let's solve it. But he proceeds to give advice. And the woman gets very upset because she doesn't want advice. What she's really doing is she's talking. And the function is not to seek advice or to seek a solution. But the point of the communication is simply to cement a relationship. It's a sort of a schmooze. And men don't know about schmoozing. Because when a man hears something that's a communication, I mean, when he hears a problem being stated, they think it's an invitation to solve it, and when there's no such thing, and men don't understand that, and then women get very frustrated.
Yeah, because I know a lot of men. I know a lot of men. It's kind of almost in our nature to fix things.
Yeah, no, yeah, but if you, I mean, when a person tells you about their problem, typically how most men respond is, oh, I guess you're asking me for a possible solution or something, you know. And all a woman wants at that point is she just wants you to listen. She wants you to be attentive. I mean, a female psychology is somewhat different. So she's not inviting you to solve a problem. What she's doing is she's simply saying, I need somebody to hold my hand. I just want to vent to us, that sort of thing. And men don't get that.
Yeah.
I mean, as a matter of fact, this is discovered, made maybe a very famous anthropologist. I think his name is Bronislaw Malinowski. And he discovered, he was studying these primitive societies, and he discovered there was a form of communication where these people talk to each other, and it's just a question of talk to each other. Talk is just cementing a relationship. It has no purpose and no function apart from that. And most men don't know about that. As a matter of fact, there was a book written a number of years ago. It was a bestseller. I'm trying to. Oh yes, it was called "You Don't Understand" by a very, very good social psychologist. I think it was Susan Forward. And that was the whole premise of the book. That somehow you don't understand. And the title of the book was referring to the fact that I'm not talking to you because I want you to solve a problem. I'm just talking to you to kind of get close to you. And most men don't understand it. They're befuddled. The woman's befuddled. Now, as soon as a man understands, oh, I understand. You're simply talking to me because you want me to get close, and you want to schmooze. You can. Everything changes.
Yeah. Now, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is, it's a very important thing to know, because as I say, most men don't know what that's about. I mean, I guess men can schmooze, but they don't know. They don't know. Look, it has to do with female psychology. Let's face it, most men are not very hip when it comes to female psychology.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
All right. So, is jealousy a big factor when it comes to lack of communication?
It's a killer. Jealousy is a killer. Now, well, first of all, if a person if someone is a philanderer, well, that's a different case situation. But in most cases, let's say a woman's jealous, the woman's very jealous. Okay. Now, here's what happens. In most cases, the ones I've dealt with, I mean, the guy's not doing anything.
Yeah.
But she's jealous. Now, and so she's always, she's being suspicious. She's asking him, what he does, where he goes. Like when men go on business trips, a lot of the time, women insist that they don't have fun. They just take care of business, So women have always been characterized as being the jealous race. Maybe that's the word unfair, but the idea is that a lot of women are jealous. But jealousy, think about this. Let me explain to you how jealousy occurs. In other words, if a man always has to defend himself against something that he doesn't do nor is he planning to do, you can see how that can put a tremendous strain on the relationship.
Yes.
And on top of that, the person who's jealous is making herself very unattractive. You would agree that a jealous woman is not a very attractive creature, but she's saying by implication that she's not a very attractive human being. She has doubts about her own desirability.
Okay. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I mean, and men can do the same thing. I mean, men can be very jealous of their wives, and they do the same thing. And so it's not gender driven necessarily.
Yeah.
Somehow, if you're going to be jealousy, is a killer because that means the other person always has to defend themselves against something they're not doing. And this goes on forever. I mean, it really can alienate one person from the other. If a person says, I'm not doing anything, nor am I planning to do anything, but I'm always being accused of doing it, and I'm always being, the suspicion is ever present, but what will I do to a relationship?
Yeah. Now I've been in those kind of situations where I've pretty much been like the rebound guy, and the woman shows me off to her ex. Is that her way of trying to make the other guy jealous or something like that?
Well, yeah, in other words, because it's promoting insecurity in someone else. I mean, as ugly as that is, I mean, what's the psychological payoff? Because if you can get your lover to be insecure, and you're insecure, that makes you more secure.
Yeah.
I'm saying if I have doubts about myself, I don't want you to be self-confident, because your being self-confident threatens me. So what happens is there's a concerted effort, to make the other person jealous. And the only reason why you would do that is because you feel insecure. Now, the solution to the problem of jealousy, let's say a person comes to me, well, I can show them exactly what they do and why they do it. Would you like to explain that?
Sure.
Okay, look. Now, I've had people, for example, come to me. Let's say I can think of one case, I can think of many, but a woman comes to me, she says, look, I realize I'm destroying my relationship with jealousy, and my husband suggested I come see somebody because I think he's right and I just can't control myself. I don't know this is awful. I feel awful and I can see how I'm alienating my husband. Can you help me? She would say, right?
Yeah.
I say, okay. So let's get down to the nuts and bolts of what jealousy is all about. Okay. Now, in order for a person to become jealous, one of the first things they have to do is to compare themselves to somebody who they have decided is their superior. Someone who they have decided is more vivacious, more attractive, more intelligent, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But even before that, she had to do something else. She had to decide that she herself was not good enough, and that she was bad. Now, the belief that she is bad predisposes her not to observe or have the possibility of her husband being with somebody else, but actually predisposes her to perceive the event. Now, suppose she saw her husband at a party, and that's what happened. That's what precipitated her coming in. And she saw the husband talking to a very attractive woman, and she got this gut reaction, and she became jealous. And then she created a scene, and then her husband said, "You better go see somebody," and that's what precipitated her coming to see me. So when I said, when you look at that attractive woman, you're not observing that, you're perceiving it. Now, we've all heard that perception is reality. So what this lady is doing is, that event, let's say the husband talking to the attractive lady, is filtered to how she sees herself. It's really an event that confirms what she already believed about herself. It just simply triggered, catalyzed what she was feeling. And the failure to recognize the difference between, for example, a catalyst and a cause is what philosophers call a post hoc illusion. After this, therefore, because of this. After my husband was talking to the attractive woman, I became jealous. Therefore, he caused my jealousy. When in point of fact, what caused her to be jealous, what caused her to feel bad, was the belief that she was bad.
Okay.
Now, I think a definitive explanation is how people get jealous. I think, would you agree?
I would agree.
That's the only way you can become jealous, that way. Okay. So then the problem is, okay, what we have to help this lady do is to help disabuse her of this belief that she's bad. That somehow she's not good enough.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing that he can do that's going to convince her, because he's playing it straight. He's not doing anything. And he's constantly being accused of doing something or about to do something, but he's not doing any such thing. So this is in keeping with what I said earlier. So what she has to do is she has to say, okay, help me disabuse myself of this belief that I'm not attractive enough, not good enough. Right?
Yeah.
Because as long as she believes that she's not good enough or attractive enough for her husband, etc., they're never going to have a good relationship. She's in a chronic state of anxiety about him fooling around.
All right. Well, we're going to go into the commercial break here. We'll be right back with my guest, Peter Spinogatti, as we talk about lack of communication in relationship. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Talking in my sleep at night, making myself crazy. Out of my mind, out of my mind. Wrote it down and read it out, hoping it would save me. Too many times, my love, he makes feel like nobody else, nobody else. But my love, he doesn't love me, so I tell myself, one, don't pick up the phone, you know he's only calling cause he's drunk and alone. Two, don't let him in, you have to kick him out again. Three, don't be...
Are you a ghost hunter or want to become one but don't have the equipment? Well, GhostStop.com has all your ghost hunting equipment needs. If you are a beginner, they have beginner ghost hunting kits on sale for $99.95, or for the seasoned ghost hunter that is missing that one piece of equipment, GhostStop.com has a laser grid scope on sale for $18.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talk of the Night website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talkin' the Night has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingthenight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details.
Do you think you have a haunted or cursed object? Well, Nicole Gaspard does, and in her book Haunted Vessels and Cursed Objects, she talks about her continued paranormal and supernatural ghost encounters, haunted dolls, and other items that are supposed to be haunted or cursed. Pick up your copy today on Amazon.com.
I'll be there for you. Calling me when you're lonely, dancing on the roof. It feels like rendezvous. You know what to do. Keep your love for me only. I get high on you, yeah, you. Hey baby, kiss me hard, don't kill my vibe. All my feelings on fire, it's all time. Hey baby, kiss me hard, don't kill my vibe. All my feelings on fire, it's all time. Don't you love time? Don't you love time? It's all time. Don't you love time? Don't you love time? It's all time.
Okay, and we are back with my guest, Peter Spinogatti, as we talk about lack of communication in relationships. And before the break, we were talking about jealousy. Now, a listener brought up a good point, that some people love it when the opposite sex looks at them, but that other person doesn't do that, look at other people of the opposite sex. Is that something that has to do with the whole jealousy thing?
Well, I mean, you can look at somebody and admire them. That's not a problem. But what happens if you look at somebody that you find appealing and you feel bad by the comparison? Well, that's not going to help you out. Plus the fact, if you like the idea that your spouse or your partner become jealous, well, then you only want them to be jealous because you figure if they're insecure, they're less likely to leave you. I mean, some people deliberately do things to make people, feel jealous. I mean, that's only because they're insecure. If you were secure, you wouldn't want anybody that you're involved with to be jealous.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, because like I said, it brought up a excellent point, and I know I'm the kind of person that, I mean, I'll sometimes look at other people and, like you said, admire them, but I wouldn't want to, if I'm with one person, that's the person I want to be with.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. I mean, you know that men have always been described as polyerotic creatures. That means, for example, that we're going to be attracted to women. I mean, once you're involved with one woman, although it's monogamous, that doesn't mean that if you go blind that you can't find other women attractive. That's not the key issue. The key issue is whether or not you act on it.
Yeah.
In other words, the fact of the matter is, monogamy is a relationship that you volunteer to enter into. But there are always going to be attractive people out there. Now, I can only tell you my experience has been that men who are what you call players,
Yeah.
promiscuous men, I found out, for example, it's not necessarily because they're dissatisfied with their wife. What happens very, very often is these guys, promiscuity is more driven by ego than sexual desire. In other words, what men do is they have to have something to prove. They have to prove, for example, that they're appealing to women, and they look at these things as conquests. So if your ego was intact, if you were at peace with yourself, you would still find yourself attracted to other women, but there's no need to act on it because you have nothing to prove.
Yeah. Now,
You know what I'm saying? In other
yeah.
words, if you look at people who are promiscuity, it would seem to be sexual in origin. Yeah, well, the attraction, yeah, but acting on it, no, that's driven not by sex. It's driven by one's ego. The fact that he thinks he's a great, he sees himself maybe as a great lover of an attractive person.
Yeah. Now,
But yep.
go ahead. I was going to say, get into my next question, but I think you had more to go on that. So I'll let you finish.
One of the talking points I was suggesting also might be of interest in terms of relationships. Take something like insistence.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into next.
Yeah, well, insistence is a killer. I'll tell you why. Because when you insist that somebody do what they don't want to do, that's not a loving act. As a matter of fact, when you insist that somebody do what they don't want to do, that's really an invitation for them to get unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to appreciate that. So let me make a blanket statement. Now, it may seem outrageous at the outset, but I assure you it's true. If every couple put over their mantelpiece, we exclude kids, of course. I mean, kids they need guidance. In this house, nobody insists that people do what they don't want to do. I can virtually guarantee the success of that relationship.
Yeah, because I mean, when somebody insists that do this or it's over or something like that's gonna kill everything.
When you're saying you're telling somebody to do something that they don't want to do, are they going to smile at you?
No.
I know. So the point. Here's the important point. Look, I'll put it another way. You never want your partner to do anything. What you want is to want them to do it.
Yeah.
If you don't get their desire plus the act, then you are not interested. Now, people who don't understand what I just told you, these are people who see it as an act of love. If I can get somebody to do what they don't want to do, that proves they need me. That's a killer.
Yeah.
No, it's a very simple proposition. I mean, normally speaking, when you have a friend, I mean, do you ever insist that they do what they don't want to do?
No, because everybody's going to be different.
No, you wouldn't do that. Then why would you do it with your partner?
Yeah. All right.
Now, this is done in all kinds of ways, not even necessarily verbally. I mean, even a simple act like, let's say she's getting dressed. Well, come on. You push them faster than they want to move. In other words, it's like, look, if you say you love somebody, if you say you care about that person, then you're never interested in forcing them to do what they don't want to do. Now, if two people viewed their relationship that way, this would be a relationship made in heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't get. I mean, what is a loving person? A loving person has a real, genuine interest in you're getting what you want. And if both of you felt the same way, well, what kind of a marriage would that be? What kind of a relationship would that be?
Yeah. It just nobody would be happy, just because.
I mean, it's a very simple thing. Would you insist I do what I don't want him to do? And you don't say that threateningly, and they would say, no, I don't. And if she meant it and he meant it, what kind of, could there ever be a conflict if people didn't insist that people do what they don't want to do? I mean, you can propose, you can suggest, you can convince, nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, if you see this person still doesn't want to do it, well, what course of action would you take?
Yeah.
If you don't really want to do it, then we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Cool being loving.
Yeah, and I've had people that going on my own experience where I'm the kind of person that would suggest, they suggest you make the call what we're going to do, and of course I would be like, well, I wanted to know what you wanted to do. It's up to you and stuff like that. Now, how could something like that?
I mean, isn't that friendly? Isn't that loving? I mean, if you say to somebody and you meant it, I never want you to do anything, but what I want you to want to do it.
Yeah.
You lived your life according to that rule. I mean, in some way, I guess it's a variation of doing to others.
Yeah.
If you don't like to be pushed around, then don't push around other people.
Yeah. Now,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I know, like I said, that I would pretty much say, I was wondering what, it's up to you what you want to do, and the other person would come back and say, well, I asked you, and of course, it went back and forth. It didn't really get heated or anything like that, but,
it only gets heated if somebody's insisting, right?
yeah.
If you don't insist, there's nothing heated going on, you see.
Now, what is the difference between like a disagreement and an argument, since we're talking about that? And what can we do to keep the disagreement from becoming an argument?
Well, I think what I mentioned earlier, maybe I'll put it in different words. No, what to do is, okay, as I say, if you disagree, now, as a matter of fact, this is a very, very big issue nowadays. When people talk about politics, I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, they certainly are not doing what I'm saying. When was the last time you heard two people talk about political points of view where they disagreed agreeably?
Yeah.
It's to a point now where as soon as you disagree, they jump all over you, that sort of a thing. Well, that's even true on a personal level. It's like this. If a person has a point of view, okay. Now, if you regard yourself as an intelligent, thoughtful person, you would like to hear the other point of view, not simply dismiss it out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Say, okay, well, what do you think? And then you're really going to listen to what they say. If you regard yourself as an intelligent, thoughtful person, you'd want to hear the other point of view, not simply dismiss them. I mean, simply call them the name, Okay. And then he or she takes up point of view, then you give them a counterpoint, and they give a counterpoint, you go back and forth. And you may end up convincing them, they may end up convincing you, or it could be a stalemate. But at the end of it, what happened is you had an enjoyable conversation, stimulating conversation. Nobody's feeling bad. Nobody feels bad. Nobody feels put down. But as I say, there's something about disagreeing with. When you're disagreed with, take a look at this. Most people, even when you do it in a very friendly way, most people perceive disagreement as being put down even when you're not putting them down. That's the problem. And so unless that's established right off that you're not doing that, they believe you, that it will be an argument.
Yeah.
At that point, there's nothing more to be said about that. I want to make a big deal out of this. You have to really insist. This is one kind of insistence that you must this up. Do you believe me when I tell you I'm only disagreeing and I'm not putting you down? You put that in stone, and that has to be accepted. And if it's not accepted, here's my advice: and just shut up, because nothing good is going to come about.
Yeah. Now, one of the talking points you mentioned was sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never harm me. Now, how can those words be helpful?
Now you're hitting a very important thing, and it goes beyond even a relationship. Look, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words cannot harm me. It happens to be absolutely true, but nobody seems to believe it. Now, how do I know it's true? Well, look, first of all, it makes a distinction between two orders of reality. A stone, biology and psychology. 1,000 stones will break 1,000 bones. No exception. stimulus response, cause and effect. But if you insult 1,000 people, put 1,000 people down, there will always be some who won't be insulted. Now, the question you have to say, well, how is it possible that some people are not? Which proves, for example, that a word is not the equivalent of a stone. A word is a symbol, it's an abstraction. You have to do something in your head. No matter how much you concentrate that the stone's not going to break your bone, it doesn't matter what you do in your head. That's strictly a biological phenomenon. But when you hear a word, no, somebody has to attend it. You have to be conscious, and you have to buy it. The very fact that some people don't buy it tells you that, words cannot harm me unless you give consent. Your consent is unnecessary as far as the stone or the bone, but you'd have to give your consent in order, for example, to be insulted. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Now, here's the problem. Just to give you an idea of how rampant people do not believe this, the whole idea of political correctness rests on a primitive understanding of language. I mean, people believe a word in and of itself has the power to hurt you. And the fact of the matter is, a word can only hurt you when it exists in a psychological context. So the meaning of a word is determined by the psychological context. In other words, that it means the intention of the user and the receptivity of the listener. In other words, the word should be translated, understood, agreed to by the listener. And nobody ever talks about that. And they treat words as if they were Pavlovian bells. The bell rings, you salivate. It's called word magic. The word in itself can cause harm. That's as primitive you can get. And political correctness rests on this primitive notion. No, words can't harm you. A word only has meaning if you allow it to. Only has hurt you if you allow it to hurt you. And nobody ever talks about that. For example, they say you try to avoid getting your buttons pushed, but nobody ever says, "Wait a minute, why do I have the buttons in the first place?"
Yeah, because I know.
So I wrote a book called "Explaining Unhappiness," and that is why I spent 60,000 words explaining. Why is it that, for example, let me give you an example of how this plays out.
Okay.
I was born and raised in the Bronx in New York City, and in those days, I was brought by Italian immigrant parents. And in those days, words like wop, dago, greaseball was commonly heard. Now, these words nowadays are very rarely heard because the demography has changed.
Yeah, back
when I was a kid, I thought I had to do something about that. Well, now I'm not a kid. Now these words are very rarely heard anyway, but that wouldn't matter if it did, because if somebody called me that, it would have no impact whatever. Because I don't believe I conform to that stereotype. I mean, and not only that, it says nothing about me, and it reveals a great deal about the other person.
Yeah, it's more. I mean, the way I see it is they're projecting, they're feeling about themselves.
Yeah, in other words, exactly. So it would be like somebody calling Albert Einstein, for example, a kike. I mean, which is a derogative term towards a Jew. Would Albert have to defend himself? I mean, come on. And it reveals nothing about the recipient. So what I'm saying, so what people do is they try to wash out other people's mouths with soap, but there's never going to be washed out of their brain that the venom that, and so what hurts. And the odd thing is, they want you to feel bad, and you proceed to accommodate them. Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And they think the solution to the problem is to sanitize other people's language.
Yeah.
In my case, if you call me a name, it would have no impact because I've taken care. I don't have those buttons that you can push anymore. So now I spend 60,000 words explaining how to get rid of your button.
Yeah. So how do we do that?
Wouldn't you want to know, for example, wait a minute, why do I accommodate this person? They call me a name, they want me to feel bad, and I proceed to accommodate them. I mean, isn't that kind of odd?
Yeah.
So you can say, why do I do that? Well, apparently, what they're saying about you, in your mind, has some semblance of truth. Let me put it this way to you. People are not our problem. They're only mirrors. They only reflect what we suspect might be true about us. But if you suspect what's true about you is not there, then what can they do to you?
Yeah.
So the real issue is, how do people get rid of this idea that there's something about them that they have to apologize for? And that's why I spent many thousands of words trying to explain. And if we have time, maybe I can get into it with you.
Yeah. Well, we still got 10 minutes before the break, so we can get a little more into it.
Okay, look. See, here's what happened. Like, I was a therapist and marriage counselor for 30 years in New York. And I noticed that despite people's presenting complaints, and however differently they express their dissatisfactions, there seemed to be an underlying sameness to what was troubling them. And in the word there was, they were all unhappy. And that meant that people in my line of work were really in the unhappiness business, in the same way that a physician is in the illness business.
Yeah.
I started to think about the possibility of there being a psychological common denominator without which people could not be unhappy. And happily, I discovered there was a psychological common denominator. And that's what led to the writing of my book, and also led me to become a life coach, because I thought by becoming a life coach, I could more efficiently impart what it is I learned as to why people really become unhappy.
Yeah.
Might have taken months of maybe counseling. I can now resolve maybe several weeks of coaching. And so I said, well, all right, what is the psychological common denominator? What is it when people say they're unhappy? Well, what exactly are they all saying the same thing at the very core of it? And it is. And you know what it is?
What's that?
It's people generally, I would say, with rare exception, all believe that there's something about them that's not quite good enough. They all have this idea that they're inadequate in some way, that they're bad. I mean, let's face it. I mean, most people live their lives in a chronic state of self-apology. I mean, do you know anybody, for example, that's completely beyond being embarrassed?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's normal, unfortunately. But you ought not to be impressed by what's normal.
Yeah.
A very important psychologist of the second half of the 20th century, Abraham Maslow, once said, what's normal is the fact of psychology of the average. In other words, so these people, the normal person is a person who has something about them that they seem not to be comfortable with, and they kind of apologize for their existence. Now, a person who didn't believe that there was anything wrong with them, a person who was at peace with themselves, a person who was self-accepting, that's what you want. These are pretty rare. And I figured out why it's so difficult for people to resist accepting themselves.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people do have that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, right? I mean, how many people have you come across them, but they're rare. They're very, very special souls. You get a person who's completely self-accepting. I mean, we always talk about self-confidence.
Yeah.
Yet nobody seems to be that confident. So you say, well, what's going on here? It seems to be obviously a universal problem, right? But let's face it. If a person was really self-confident and a person was really self-accepting, would they need any psychological counseling? Would they read books on self-improvement?
No, because
They think with themselves.
yeah.
Because that would seem to be the universal problem. Okay, so let's see. So now I had to figure out, well, why is it so difficult? Why is it so hard for people to be self-accepting? Because if you were, all these other problems, all these other issues would go away. I know it sounds like an outrageous claim, but I assure you that is true.
Yeah.
Okay. So the problem then is that people are unhappy. You may have noticed, for example, they talk about self-improvement. The implication being that you can only improve, but you can never quite solve your problem, right? But I'm much more ambitious. I'm not interested in improving anything. What I'm interested in doing is achieving self-acceptance.
Yeah. Because.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Because I know I see what you're saying.
Yeah, in other words, I'm not looking to improve anything. I mean, it's like self-improvement. I look at it's like putting a bandage on the same old wound. I'm not interested in putting a bandage on the same old wound. What I'm interested in is getting rid of the wound altogether. Now, that sounds like an ambitious project and impossible, but I think I figured it out. So,
okay, so how do you figure about let's see, how do you how did you figure that out? That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay, how do you figure that out? Right. So we agree the relationship is not the place to look. If you want to solve your problem, you have to look inside your own head. It's an individual problem.
Mm.
Well, you have to take a look. Okay, what's going inside my head that makes me uncomfortable with myself? And nobody out there can bail you out, because ultimately you have the problem and you are in a position to solve it. And what I do is help them see what they're doing. So it'll take a little time, though. I think we have enough time. Let me tell you how I figured it out.
Okay.
Now, if you were to ask someone, so look, let's put it this way. The most important problem to ever occupy human consciousness is unhappiness. I think you would agree.
Yeah.
Nothing trumps unhappiness. That is the human problem.
Yeah, that can solve a lot of things.
That's the name of the game. With everything we do, everything we try to achieve, one way or the other, you say, well, you do it because you think that's going to make you happy. And unfortunately, even though these things may, for example, you may want to, I have nothing against acquiring things, accomplishing things, and nothing wrong. But none of those things are going to make you happy. They'll be they're a pleasurable act. There's no reason why you shouldn't do it. But it's a psychological problem that requires a psychological solution. And no amount of acquisition, no amount of getting things, having things is going to make the difference. Although, as I said, there's nothing wrong with those other things.
Yeah.
A great deal of the literature out there, they're always telling you how to accomplish things, how to own things, how to become successful. And the implication is that those things were going to make you happy. And in point of fact, they don't.
Yeah.
Something much more fundamental that's going to put you at peace. In other words, look, it comes down to this. You have to stop doing something in your head. Now, if you were to ask anybody, well, what do you mean when you say you're unhappy? They would invariably say that they're feeling bad. Feeling bad is the equivalent. And then if you were to say, well, what do you mean by feeling bad? They would say, well, I'm feeling in a way that I don't want to feel. And if it were possible to feel otherwise, I would choose to do so.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good working definition of what we mean by unhappiness, right?
Yeah. Now.
It was this feeling bad. Yeah,
Okay. I was just going to get into the next question before the break, because we got 3 minutes before the break. But I was going to ask why, because I know one of my friends has a gripe about this, and I told him to tune into the show tonight because it's perfect for the gripe. But he asks, why is it hard for some people to communicate?
Well, because they're hiding. In other words, somehow they're afraid to let them... Look, you see, if you have any doubts as to your desirability, then you can never be forthright. And so in a certain sense, some people do it more than other people because we're all hiding in a certain way because we're always afraid that we're going to be found out, that somehow that there's something about us that's not as good as we'd like to think they are. I think I told you, like, other people are really mirrors. They don't make us feel bad. They simply reflect what we think is wrong with us. And so, if once you get at peace with yourself, that solves all problems. There's nothing to hide, nothing to pretend, As I say, unfortunately, this is very unusual. Most people are like that.
Yeah, because, me, like, I don't have a real problem with communicating. It's just that I tend to have that shy reserved side of me until I really get to know people, and I know sometimes it makes it difficult to communicate with new people.
Yeah, well, exactly. A lot of people do that. In other words, look, shyness, all these things that we it's because somehow we're afraid that we have some fear as to what this person might do. In other words, we have to qualify them. We have to make them. We have to see that they're not out to get us. Let's say shyness has something to do with maybe somehow being embarrassed, right? We don't want to put our foot in our mouth. We don't want to do things that are going to ostracize us, that sort of thing, it's normal behavior, but as I say, we can go beyond the normal. When you see a person who's outgoing and a person who is comfortable in their own skin, you can see that. And we say, well, this is a self-confident person. But what does that mean? It means that he's not apologizing for anything. What you see is what you get. What you get is what you see, and they're perfectly comfortable. In order to achieve that, you have to have a very, very sound view of who you are. look, in a sense, we can say we're always trying to avoid unhappiness, but unhappiness is the product of how we see ourselves, and that's what has to change.
Okay, so we are coming up on the break at the top of the hour. We'll be right back after the short commercial break with your calls for Peter right after the short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Yeah. All day and all night, we'd stay up, it felt so right. We were so young, we were so dumb. We would get drunk and then hook up. We were okay, we were alright, staying awake till the sunrise. We were in love, couldn't stop us, like a good drug, never run. We hook up in my car, driving so far, play your guitar, you'd show me your heart. Let down our guards, think with our hearts, stare at the stars. We were never apart, drinking too young, way too much fun, out in the sun, hoping when it's gone, took you to prom.
Do you want to know how to attract love, money, jobs, success? Well, check out livelifemadeToOrder.com. If you go to the products page and mention Talking the Night, you will get 50% off of your order. That's livelifemadeToOrder.com.
Do you have an interest in the paranormal? Well, tune in every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific on the Talking the Night Facebook page for Ask Paranormal Phil. The show is a Facebook Live show where he gets into different topics about the paranormal and answers your questions. That's Ask Paranormal Phil every Tuesday night, only on the Talking the Night Facebook page.
Do you have a talk radio, Facebook Live, or YouTube show and would like guests for your show but don't know where to go to get them? Well, go to radioguestlist.com and sign up today. They have all different experts in different fields and you can find the ones that are just right for your show. That's radioguestlist.com. Sign up today. It's free.
To call into the show, Skype Paranormal Phil, or by phone at 951-223-5055. And now, back to Talking the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil.
Hi, and we are back with my guest, Peter Spinogatti. Sorry, I almost messed it up. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have probably messed up your name before. But we do have the phone lines open, so if you want to call into the show, ask my guest about lack of communication in relationship and what we've been talking about tonight. The phone lines are now open, so if you want to call in and ask a question, I do have it open, so you can call in. Now, before the break, we were talking about the why people find it hard to communicate with people and stuff like that. And I mentioned about the shyness and stuff like that. How can we overcome something like that to help us communicate better?
Well, okay, you have to deal with the individual. Let's say, for example, the jealous lady, right? In other words, somehow her jealousy is hurting her and it's hurting the relationship. But the problem is that she has real questions as to her own desirability. In other words, most people, unfortunately, are tainted with that. So what you have to help them understand is to be at peace with themselves. Because if they're at peace with themselves, then they'll be at peace in a relationship. Okay? Now that takes a little doing. Because after all, we're talking about how we're trying to help people not be unhappy with themselves. And so first we have to diagnose it correctly.
Mm.
So, okay, well, why do people feel bad? Well, in the end, it comes down to people feel bad because they believe they're bad. And so we have to change that belief. Now, most people talk about feelings as if somehow feelings instruct them. They tell them that feelings have a kind of they're informative. They tell you something about yourself. Actually, that's not true. Feelings are really, let's say, bodily sensations, but they really don't have any meaning other than the meaning you give it. For example, like bodily feelings are known technically and scientifically as stress. Now, there is something out there which let me tell you about. It's called the general adaptation syndrome. That means that if you were to look at a person who examined by undergoing stress, all you would know is that it's a non-specific response to a change within that. So whether you're having an orgasm or whether you broke your leg, if you examine a body, you couldn't know what was going on. In other words, the stress cannot tell you whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. Now, once you know that, in other words, they can't tell you any feelings are dumb. You give meaning to it. In other words, when stress becomes distress when you do something in your head, and it comes from believing something. In other words, so ultimately, feelings are the product of what you do in your head. So when you're feeling bad, I maintain it's because you're believing you're bad. So then the question is, how to get people to stop believing that they're bad? That's a big, big question, right?
Yeah.
Because that is the source of our unhappiness.
Mm.
Right? It's a big deal. So you can't afford to be less than experts on how you come to believe anything, let alone to believe that you're bad. You know?
Yeah.
So now we have to do an analysis of this. I spent a lot of time on this. I spent many thousands of words going into this to say, well, how does a person get to believe that they're bad? Because we're not born with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a 2-year-old, they can look in a mirror, and they can recognize their reflection, but they don't see anything that's unacceptable. They're just looking at themselves. Check back a few years later, and that same child will find all kinds of things that are wrong.
Yeah.
She will find her nose is too big. He will find that he's not popular enough. She will find that she's not pretty enough, etc., etc. So what happens? We're born into the world perfectly at peace with ourselves. But I mean, every culture that I'm aware of, at some point, in subtle and not so subtle terms, teach people that there's something wrong with them. You know, they say you're not attractive enough, not popular enough, not smart enough, and so it goes. And so people start to feel bad about themselves, and that's where their unhappiness begins. Because when you look at a 2-year-old, they're not unhappy.
Yeah.
They've noticed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no self-reflection in the sense of what's wrong with me. You know, they can have a big nose and a funny face, but when they look in the mirror, oh yeah, that's me. They make no judgment. So later on, they make judgments about themselves. They decide that they're not this enough, not that enough, and that's where the problem starts. And as we get older, I mean, look, think about how much time and energy and money that people put into improving themselves. Their looks, their intelligence, blah blah blah, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And they spend their whole lives in the search of improving what they think is wrong.
Yeah.
So I take a very radical point. Yeah, you see that all the time, right?
Yeah, because like me, I know when I started getting gray in my goatee, I wanted to color it. It's like I felt self-conscious about going gray and stuff like that, and I would color it, and then it just would fade away back to that gray, and then I finally said, you know what, I'm happy with that gray. It defines me.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, so think about it. Think of the billions of dollars spent on diets. You know how many dives have there been in the last 60 or 70 years?
A lot of them. And I'm not going to mention names because they're not. I was going to say, I'm not going to mention names because they're not sponsors of the show. I'm not advertising for free.
Yeah, I mean, the recidivism rate is 95% of the people who succeed in losing the weight gain it back and some. But the only point I'm trying to make is that you can see, I mean, the amount of, I mean, I picked up a magazine the other day, you know, it's, I don't know, one of these magazines, Elle, or one of these female magazines. And the entire book, I mean, magazines are covered with how to dress well, makeup, all the rest of it. I mean, if you thought about the amount of money that's spent by women and men too, more, I guess more with women, but men too, the amount of money they spend on improving what they think is wrong with them.
Yeah.
Astonishing. Now, I'm not saying that you ought not to buy a certain product to make yourself look more attractive, but this really taps into people's suspicion as to their desirability. And they can do these things. I have nothing against it, but actually that's not going to solve their problem. And think about the amount of time and energy and money that's spent on, for example, not getting old.
Yeah.
You're using your gray hair, for example, right?
Yeah.
So you say, well, so my work is cut out for me. And I'm saying all these things, and the reason why people, these self-suspicions, that's the source of our misery. That's the source of our unhappiness.
Yeah, and that does lead to that lack of communication, correct?
Oh, sure. No, as I say, if two people were at peace with themselves, this is a very rare thing, two self-confident human beings were at peace with themselves, then that relationship is virtually guaranteed to be successful. Unfortunately, there are not that many people out there. So the solution to the problem is how do you get a person to be comfortable under their own skin? I mean, think about the idea, like, for example, men getting gray or getting bald, or women, for example.
Which I got both problems. I got the gray and the baldness.
Yeah. Well, no, but you see what I'm driving at is that we live in a culture, you know, where we try we do everything. I mean, look, there are just certain natural things that are happening to a human body. It's how it always been. The fact is, we live in a culture that extended life. I think at 1900, the average age was 50 when people died. Now it's 80, 85. It's quite an achievement.
Yeah, and it's getting even. I was going to say it's getting even more. Yeah.
So anyway, the culture has changed, and what I'm driving at is that somehow I have nothing against people trying to look more attractive, all the rest of it, but the motivation for it most of the time, unfortunately, is they don't really like who they are. I mean, I'm not saying anything out of school. When I tell you, think about how many women. I mean, if you ever look at these magazines, how often do you see female bodies being presented?
Yeah.
Right. So what's it all about? People women are enormously self-conscious about their bodies. I mean, think about how many women out there, for example, who don't think they're very attractive. You think that's not going to affect their sexual life?
Yeah. I hear what you're talking about and getting at and everything like that.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So, anyway, the idea is, so this question of communication, as I say, we ought not be looking at the communication as such. That's where it shows up. The example I used before, like example, if people have unsatisfactory sex and they blame the bed didn't do it, that's where it shows up.
Yeah.
And by analogy, communication. In other words, if a person is uncomfortable with themselves, they'll be uncomfortable in the communication.
Yeah.
So ultimately, the solution to the problem of unhappiness is an individual thing. Each person has to say, listen, I don't want to be unhappy anymore. I don't want to believe there's something wrong with me. I don't want to believe that I'm bad. And that's what I spent 16,000 words trying to explain.
Yeah, because like I said, I know there was a time when I would, like I said, I felt bad about the gray. I wanted to darken it. I started going bald at 19, and now that I'm past that point of worrying about my looks, which I know a lot of people do, I know I'm going bald, and usually shave my head, especially during the summer when it's hot, but I do have that Dr. Phil haircut when I do grow out hair, and it just doesn't bother me anymore. And that self-confidence in yourself kind of destroys the communication when you think you're not good enough for that other person.
Exactly. In other words, you're not going to go through the rest of your life in a state of self-apology. You're not going to apologize for yourself anymore. No, we say, well, what you see is what you get, and that should be said with confidence. I mean, what do I have to apologize for? Look, there are certain kinds of standards that the culture puts up. I mean, my God, think how early, and you know how early it starts. I mean, look at teenagers. Look at the kind of nonsense they put themselves through. Because they want to belong, they want to be part of the group, that kind of a thing. I mean, we have certain standards that have to be satisfied. And they do all kinds of things, some of which are outrageous. I mean, just to belong, because they say, well, if I don't belong, then there's really something wrong with me. That sort of thing. You can see, for example, so normal human behavior is always generally motivated by this need on our part. To be acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And we think mistakenly that if other people accept us, we'll accept ourselves. No, it's the other way around. If you are self-accepting, in all probability you will be accepted, but it doesn't matter because you've already solved your problem.
Yeah.
Right? There's no reason why a balding head or a gray beard should put anybody off. And if it does, well, that's their problem.
Yeah, like one of my listeners said, let me get to it here. If someone doesn't like you for who you are, they don't deserve your friendship, or in the case we're talking about, relationship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they don't like who you are, generally speaking, look, when you criticize somebody else, and really find fault with other people, now look at the person finding fault. I'm using my example of political correctness. If they call you a name, where are they coming from? What are they saying about themselves?
Yeah.
What are they revealing about themselves? What kind of? Can't you see that this ugliness there, and they're revealing their ugliness?
They're pretty much showing their true side.
Yeah, what's wrong with me? Instead of saying, no, what's wrong with them? It's using my example, as I said before. I mean, somebody called you a name, okay, and then we proceed to do exactly what they want us to do. We feel that. Why? If they're calling you a name, then you just say, wait a minute, why would they do that? Like, when people make fun of other people, think about that. I mean, what is the psychology of a person who does that?
Yeah.
Are they at peace with themselves?
No.
I don't think so.
And of course, yeah, there we are.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the idea, but we don't know that. The reason we're is because we're so preoccupied with our own self-doubt, it blinds us to what's obvious. I mean, as I say, use an example of something like this. Let's say, for example, I don't know. Let's say, my example of Einstein again. Now, if somebody looked at him as if he were a kite, a Jew, I mean, now think for a moment. He was the man of the 20th century, a genius beyond belief.
Mm-hmm.
Why would a person call a man of that quality by that name? Shall we look at Einstein, or shall we look at the person calling him a name?
Yeah, we should be more or less looking at what he did.
Himself? I don't think so.
No.
But even though he's a genius, an extraordinary person, I'm not denying that, he deserves respect. But don't we deserve just as much respect?
Yeah.
What is it about us? As human beings, he deserves respect, undoubtedly, but not so much of his accomplishments, but although he had accomplished much. The fact is that we are human beings. It doesn't matter. We deserve as much respect as anybody.
Yeah.
So that if you walk around in a state of self-respect, once you know that about yourself, then who can get to you?
Yeah.
Right? It's all pervasive. Once you accept yourself, it affects everything. It affects your relationships. It affects your work. It affects everything under the sun. Which you know and I know, there are a lot of people who have all the accomplishments that the culture says you're supposed to have, and they're still very, very unhappy people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a cliche to say, well, money doesn't buy happiness. That's true. I have nothing against money, but the fact of the matter is there are people who are wealthy who are just as miserable as people who are not wealthy. And although money is desirable for all kinds of things, money is not going to give you self-respect. Money will give you whatever you're looking to get from that.
Yeah, but
self-respect is a psychological question that can't be achieved by acquiring things.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, let's see. I lost where I was here. Just to say, now when you speak, do you know what? Because one of the talking points is when you speak, do you know what you really want, and everything like that, and.
I think I answered that. I answered that earlier.
Okay, yeah.
What you want, like in a relationship, what you want is for them to want to do it. It's related to an assistance thing. In other words, you never want anybody to do anything. What you want is them to want to do it.
Yeah.
You want the act plus their desire, and that's in keeping with what I spoke about earlier about insistence, right?
Yeah.
So that a really selfish person, which is by definition an unloving person, doesn't care about what you want. They care about what they want.
Yeah, because I was trying to tie it into the whole thing of like what you were talking about, like money and stuff like that. You can't buy the happiness and stuff like that. So that's why I was going back to that.
I'm saying it can only buy what it can buy.
Yeah.
But self-confidence and self-respect and self-acceptance, that one can't buy that.
Yeah, that is all in us. If we don't accept ourselves for who we are and stuff like that, how do we expect anybody else to accept us for it?
Yeah. Anyway, but that's a fundamental. So there was the fundamental problem is this: the human problem, the most important human problem, after all is said and done, is happiness. Happiness is a state, is feeling in a way that you don't want to feel. It's a feeling bad state. And all the kinds of things that people offer to overcome that, when it has to do with acquiring things and accomplishing things, as desirable as those things may be, is not going to do it. In other words, it's a psychological issue. You have to get into your head. You have to start looking at, I do it the way I do it, is when I coach people, I get them to see, for example, why it is they find it necessary to put themselves down. And then once they see what they're doing, and they resolve that, then they've solved the essential problem.
Yeah. All right. So, let's see. Now, what is the difference between like cause and blame in like a communication?
Oh yeah, a very big difference. So let me see if I can separate it for you. You see, let's put it this way. Let's take an example. Let's say a man slaps his wife. It causes her lip bleeds. Now, biologically, he caused her lip to bleed, right? But we're talking physics, but biology, right? Something dense strikes something less dense. Okay. So he's definitely the cause. He can't say, oh, well, the demon made me do it. No, you did it, and you're causing that. Okay. And we'll say he is responsible. You can't make any excuses. He did it. He said, well, I didn't know what I was doing. Well, that's nonsense. You slapped her. You knew you did it. And you have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Now, but the one thing, when she starts to blame him, she's blaming him for making her feel bad. Now, blame is a psychological concept. Blame, he caused it, he's responsible, but blame means that he caused her to be unhappy. But in point of fact, you know what caused her to be unhappy?
What's that?
Think.
Well, yeah.
What's wrong with me that he would do that?
Yeah,
So
okay, yeah.
She's actually blaming herself, and she's projecting it onto him, you know? In other words, if you look at the word blame, we live in a culture where a lot of blaming goes on. So blame is saying, look, you made me unhappy. Well, no matter how abominable the other person may be, no. Look, you can slap somebody's face and cause their lips to bleed, But why they're feeling bad is because they say, well, what's wrong with me that you would do that? Let me give you a biblical example.
Okay.
You know, in the Bible, they turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds on the face of it an outrageous thing, but if you look at it more deeply, what was he really saying? He was saying, look, if you slap somebody, you turn the other cheek. I think what Jesus was saying was something like this. He was saying, you turn the other cheek not because you're enduring the indignity, but he's trying to tell you, he's trying to show you, you're not doing anything to me. And let me show you why. And you turn the other cheek, but you're trying to demonstrate to the other person, I'm not your problem, you are.
Yeah, because I know
That's
that.
my reading of it.
Yeah, because I know there's been times, well, not times, but there was one time that I did get angry, and I went to meditate, and I do mixed martial arts, calming, like chi type stuff, and the person came up to me. I don't know whether it was an ex of mine, but she came up to me, I guess, to apologize or something like that, and of course I lost balance because I was on one leg and I hit her, but immediately right after I felt bad and went to apologize, but of course she didn't want to hear it right at the moment. And
yeah. Well, yeah, because if she didn't look, if she could have seen it as an accident, accidents do happen. Right? But when you did it, what she was doing, you did it either intentionally or because somehow you weren't careful enough or care enough to be careful about it. Anyway, the point is, whenever she was attacking you, she was blaming herself in some way.
yeah, and of course I didn't see that.
Yeah, it comes down to what we were talking about earlier, about like political correctness. In other words, you can't blame the other person for calling you a name. Of course, they called you a name. They wanted you to feel bad. But if you did feel bad, they didn't do it. You bought it.
Yeah.
As opposed to if they hit you in the head with a rock. No, that they did that, But a word, no, it's up to you to embrace it, to accept it, to embrace it,
Yeah.
And it sounds like so blame really is, how can I say that? It's really a psychological lie.
Okay. Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
You mean to tell me? Yeah, because I know what you did, whatever your intention was, Now, unless it's a biological thing, a physical thing, a stone, that sort of a thing, okay, they can cause you to kill, they can cause you to die, they can cause all kinds of things. But being blamed is something you accept. It would be like this. Suppose somebody said to you, they thought you were a terrorist out to destroy America. You wouldn't feel bad about that. You see, clearly this person's insane.
Yeah.
You say, what's wrong with this person? That's because you clearly know that's not the case. On the other hand, if they mention something about your intelligence, something about how your appearance, well, that would get your attention. Mostly because most people have questions about their intelligence and their appearance, and et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So they did it. Their intention was malevolent. We agree to that. But you bought it.
Yeah.
Right? But when you don't buy it, you've rendered them impotent. Right?
Yeah.
As I say, if somebody called me a wop or a dago today, it would have absolutely no effect whatsoever.
Yeah, because just the words.
Do I believe I fit that stereotype?
Most likely not.
Not at all. So it would be just words in the wind, It would have no effect on me whatsoever. That sort of thing. Anyway, the point I'm making is that somehow the name of the game, the mission, is okay. How do I get to a point where I no longer give myself a rough time? I stop doubting myself. Now that takes some. Listen, think about it. When was the last time you heard of a psychological problem which didn't involve low self-esteem?
Don't think I remember any.
One. Yeah. So and low self-esteem is just an alternative way of saying that you're bad. There's something wrong with you. In other words, if people didn't believe that, low self-esteem is a person who says, look, they're looking in a mirror, literally or metaphorically, and they're saying, there's something about what I'm looking at that is not good enough. And everybody, virtually everybody on planet Earth is tainted with that idea. So if that's the source of the problem, well, then that's what we have to eliminate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a very unusual way of approaching that because I had to deal with a lot of things, because there are people out there who blame the environment that's causing you to do that. They blame their genes, they blame their chemistry, they blame all sorts of things. And it turns out none of that is the case. You know, knows what happens. Because I'll put it this way. Well, people say, well, the reason why I feel I'm a loser is because I was brought up a certain way. But that's not necessarily true, because I know a lot of people who came out of very, very terrible circumstances, and they came out fine.
Yeah.
And I know people who had the best family backgrounds who come out badly. So in the end, even though a loving family and a loving relationship environment is the best way to go, there's no guarantee. Because in the end, it's what the person does inside their head.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the bottom of the at the half, okay. So for a commercial break. But we'll be right back with more of lack of communication with my guest Peter Spinogatti. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Be sure to check out the show's website at talkingthenight.weebly.com for some great content such as Story of the Day, This Day in History, and much more. Also, if you missed the show, check out the show's archive page under the Radio Show tab where you can find all the shows listed. And be sure to sign up for the Talking the Night newsletter. Are you a ghost hunter or want to become one but don't have the equipment? Well, GhostStop.com has all your ghost hunting equipment needs. If you are a beginner, they have beginner ghost hunting kits on sale for $99.95, or for the seasoned ghost hunter that is missing that one piece of equipment, GhostStop.com has a laser grid scope on sale for $18.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talk of the Night website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talking the Night has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingthenight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details. Okay, and we are back with my guest, Peter Spinogatti, as we're talking about lack of relationships. And before the break, we were talking about, like, upbringings and stuff like that, and how it affects us with this. And now, I've talked to many people that have said, well, they're like this because they were brought up that way. And of course, I'm one of those people that had a different upbringing, but I learned to change my way of thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly how people have. I'm like, just to give a rather dramatic example. Charles Manson and what's the other guy's name? The cannibal, I forget. Both those guys were raised in normal families.
Yeah.
And how do they end up serial killers? The only point I'm trying to make is that, look, your family background is what you're thrust into. What you make of it. I mean, but as you say, you started thinking differently. There are some people out there who will be. I mean, I've had couples, for example, where their fathers were alcoholics and they became alcoholics. And I also had couples, for example, people who would say, it's precisely because my father was an alcoholic, I'm not. They use the father as a negative example.
Yeah. Well, I know.
I don't know how to say, well, I think they're exactly what I don't want to be.
Yeah, because there was a time when I used to drink alcohol like a fish, but then again, I was a sailor, so. It only took one thing where my dad was in a wreck after driving drunk, and that opened my eyes to say, okay, that's enough. I don't need the alcohol no more. And of course,
that was a pivotal moment in your life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so that was the turning point in your life. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. No, I've things like that can happen. They'll meet somebody that maybe will give them a different point of view. So a lot of people turn their life around. I mean, you looked at it and you said, wait a minute, this is not for me, right? And so you were using his behavior as a negative model. You're saying, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
See, that's when people make excuses to say, well, my environment. Look, I'm not saying an environment is irrelevant, but ultimately, no matter where you come from, you are going to decide what kind of path you're going to take, right? I mean, let's take people, for example, like in these poor neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them go the wrong way, but some of them go the right way. They say, wait a minute, this is not for me,
Yeah.
So ultimately, we can't blame anybody. We'll see that word blame again, because they can't make you, they can't cause you to be that way. Ultimately, you decide.
Yeah. Now.
You decide that somehow,
Go ahead.
I mean, and everybody kind of knows that, because why would anybody seek counseling or seek therapy or seek self-improvement books, that sort of a thing, unless they believe it were possible to change one's attitude? Let's face it, attitude is what it's all about. I mean, you can say human experience is exactly the same thing as attitude. One's attitude is the crucial difference. Whatever you're exposed to, you always have that power to say, okay, how am I going to... And nobody can take that away from you. There's a great doctor. His name is... he was an inmate in Auschwitz, the death camps in Germany.
Yeah.
And he said that, his name was Viktor Frankl, and he said the last of human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in a given situation. And when he was doing, every morning when he got up, he wouldn't know if that was the last day of his life. So he decided that, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of other prisoners. And so he gave his life some purpose. He said, okay, I'm going to help them. And if they come for me, they come for me. And what he was saying is true. Look at the circumstance. Every day he didn't know what was going to happen. But what he did, he said, well, my attitude is such that I'm going to take care of other people. And that made him live through it.
Yeah, because I mean, if we worry about living for the next day, we miss living for today. And
exactly, because they're talking nowadays about being in the here and now. Like right now, if you are firmly fixed in the here and now, you would never have a problem, because let's face it, when you're unhappy, you're always anticipating a bad future, or you're recalling a terrible thing that you had happened to in the past, But if you're like right now, in this present moment, nothing wrong, nothing bad going on. And as long as you're fixed at the present moment, you'll be at peace with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
like right now, what you and I are doing, we're doing exactly what we should be doing. with the talking to each other. We shouldn't be any place but where we are, you know. And as long as you say, well, yeah, why am I doing this? Because this is where I should be. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But to whatever degree you doubt that and start questioning yourself, well, then you're going to be a very unhappy person. And as I said, that comes from people who doubt themselves.
Yeah, because I know, like me, I tend to listen more than I do speak. Of course, I speak only when I know what I'm talking about. But I tend to listen to other points of views, and that's why I do this radio show, because I want people to get other people's point of view, and then they can decide for themselves. But maybe somewhere down the line, they listen to that, and it helps them out.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the attitude we should have. You know, the fact of the matter is, other people have a point of view. Okay, let's listen. You're never going to learn anything unless you allow them to speak. As I say, nowadays, the level of discourse is really quite bad. You know, people are just calling people names all the time. You know, instead of saying, okay, tell me your point of view, and you can disagree. But as I say, you can disagree agreeably. It comes down to the same thing we were talking about when we first started. In other words, if you disagree agreeably, the conversation will proceed. But as soon as you feel you're being put down, I mean, if you see when people have political points of view nowadays, you know, I mean, you say you're for this person or that person, they instantly translate that mean you're putting me down. No, I'm just saying I'm not denouncing you. I'm just asking you what you believe, and I'll tell you what I believe. And at the end of it, it can be a very pleasant conversation. But that doesn't happen too often nowadays. Which tells you, for example, right? You agree?
Yeah, because I know, like, I'll bring up an example. I was headed to my day job and everything like that, and of course back then I was taking the bus because I didn't have a vehicle, and I would have to get off the bus and walk, and of course I would get to this one point where the people that I call the Bible thumpers, the ones that, like, their point of view is the only way and nobody else's point of view is right, but she started to mention something about the Bible, and of course, me being Wiccan, I was like, I'll listen to you as long as you listen to me and hear my point of view and stuff like that. And as soon as I mentioned that I was Wiccan, she's like, no, you're a devil worshiper, and she did not want to hear it. And of course,
a devil worshiper, why?
Just because she did not understand what Wicca was.
She actually called you a devil worshiper, huh?
Yeah. But I was like, okay, if that's what you want to believe, that's up to you. But I know that's not the truth. And of course, I walked away.
Yeah, so you're demonstrating exactly what we talked about earlier. When somebody tries to call you a name or put you down, if you know what they're saying is untrue, they can't get to you.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect demonstration of what we were talking about, political correctness. In other words, once you know that what they're saying about you is false, then it's like it's just words in the breeze. Nothing happens. Nothing bad's going to happen at that point. It's like, I believe that's a perfect demonstration of what we were saying. So when people call you names and you're at peace with yourself, they can't get to you.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't let it get to me. It just was their point of view, and they're entitled to their opinion. But I knew that they were wrong, but it's their point of view, and I wasn't going to try to change their mind about it.
Yeah, but I'm curious, but she actually called you a devil worshiper?
Yes.
I mean, that's a closed-minded person, you know.
Yeah.
You know, what you say, like, well, I mean, these people are ultra conservative. I mean, what they think is, like, if you disagree, they call you a name, right?
Yeah.
They can't even tolerate. See, if I were to say, well, wait a minute now. If I were to ask that woman, well, look, you have a certain set of religious beliefs, so nobody's questioning that. Why is it that you find it necessary to call somebody a devil worshiper? Why is it necessary you condemn them for not believing what you believe? Now, she probably wouldn't even answer the question, but I can read her mind. She believes that if she doesn't condemn you, if she doesn't call you a devil worshiper, somehow, someway, she might be endorsing your point of view. So, in order to keep herself attacked psychologically, she has to condemn people who don't agree with her.
Yeah.
Very primitive stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like if you don't argue with them, if you don't fight with them, if you don't call them a name, oh my God, if I just allow them to think the way they think, my God, maybe that means that I'll be endorsing what they think. It's not true, but that's what they're afraid of.
Yeah, because I know there's been times where I've come across those type of people, and they do have a conversation with me, and stuff like that. They're willing to listen a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. And I tell them I'm in the paranormal and stuff like that, and I'm able to see and communicate with spirits. And there are people that'll be like, well, I don't believe in spirits and stuff like that. I've never seen one, so I don't believe in them. And of course, being Wiccan, it confuses them when I bring up the Bible, because I do understand a little bit about that. So because I take the time to actually learn, and I said, well, doesn't the Bible say that Jesus is the Holy Spirit or the ghost? And so if there's no ghost, then why is he considered a Holy Spirit or a ghost? And it gives them a chance to think about that.
Yeah, well, anyway, but the important thing is people, look, if people have the right attitude, I mean, conversation can be very interesting and very pleasant, you know. As I say, most people, you know, they have certain ideas and they feel threatened by other people's ideas. But these are the people, as I said, the reason why they're threatened by it is because they're not at peace with themselves. They believe they got to fight tooth and nail. Otherwise, if they'd somehow say, my God, I have to defend myself. No. See, the idea is this. You are allowed to talk to someone that you disagree with and not be troubled by it, unless you believe that you're supposed to be troubled by it. Right? You don't believe you should be troubled by what they say, nor I. As I said, remember I told you earlier, most people see disagreement, even when you're being very friendly, as putting them down.
Yeah.
You know, they don't understand. Well, disagreement is simply a disagreement. I'm not condemning you. I just simply don't. And so that's I've observed most people have a question as to their intelligence. They don't think they're smart enough, that sort of thing. And so when they're disagreed with, they take it personally, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Now, let's see. We got about 13 minutes left in the show. So all the stuff that we talked about tonight, as far as the anger, the insistence, and everything, that's all in your book. What was the title again? I'm sorry.
The name of the book is Explaining Unhappiness.
Okay. Because I know it was coming up something else.
If you want a more detailed, I mean, I cover all my bases. What I'm doing, I have to convince people that the reasons they give for putting themselves down are invalid, and that there's a reason why they do it, and there's also a reason why they find it difficult to stop. You know, I'll put it in a nutshell. Although you have to, it's a more detailed explanation in the book. It's like this: if you were to ask somebody, look, you have the freedom. You have the freedom to stop believing that you're bad. You know how they typically answer that question?
How's that?
They say, you mean, if I said it, I mean, if I didn't think I was bad, I mean, my God, that means I would be perfect.
No.
And I say, well, yeah. Now, perfect, and most people might say, well, then I would mean arrogant. I'd be conceited. I say, does it mean that? Doesn't have to mean that.
No.
In other words, they fight it because believing they're bad, they think is going to make them good.
Yeah.
That's why you become a good person. But they don't understand that you're never going to become good, because you also happen to believe that if you were good, arrogant, conceited, that makes you bad. So it's really a paradox.
Yeah.
The reason why but if you could say, look, stop it now, just cut it out, be at peace. There's nobody like you. You're one of a kind. Nobody has your face. Nobody has your fingerprint. Nobody has your signature. You're not to be compared to anybody. You're one of a kind. 9 billion people, and nobody has your face. Nobody. Think about that. There's nothing to compare. And if they understood that, it's like, well, yeah, well, why are you apologizing for yourself?
Yeah.
Whatever you have, whoever you are uniquely you. You're one of a kind. And if you never compared yourself to anybody else, you say, okay, who are you? Exactly who I am, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. There's nobody like you, Phil.
Yeah, then there's nobody like me. There's nobody like you. We all have our own ways of thinking.
Yeah, nobody has your signature. Nobody has your face. Nobody has your fingerprint. We're born separately, uniquely who we are. For example, typically, as I say, a small child doesn't compare himself to anybody. He's completely oblivious to the fact that he's one of a kind, but he is one of a kind. Who should he compare himself with? Anybody? Later on, he does that damage to himself.
Yeah, well, like when I talk about the paranormal and stuff like that, I mentioned something about the ability to see spirits, but it's actually coming into play when we're talking about this, is when we're young, our minds are not corrupted by the everyday world and everything like that, but as we grow older, we're told different and we start believing that kind of stuff.
Exactly right, Phil. In other words, we're born innocent. Now, there are some people who say we're born in sin. Well, I don't believe in that. We're born innocent. A child is completely innocent. He has no sense that he is a person who is bad in any way, right? Just watch a 2-year-old, watch a 3-year-old. You think they're going inside their head and say, "What's wrong with me?"
No.
The reason why they're so attractive and so appealing is because what you're watching is pure innocence. They're saying, they're bopping along, they're doing this, they're doing that. Completely nothing. There's no introspection, nothing going on in those little heads of theirs and saying, "My God, there's something wrong with me." And maybe the reason why we enjoy them so much is because we reminisce. We say, "Oh my God, we were like that at one time also."
Yeah, I do that sometimes. I look back on because I work at an amusement park, so I work with a lot of small kids, and I see that innocence in them and everything like that, and I'm thinking, oh, what it would be like to be back in that innocent stage.
To have an innocent, yeah. I know you reminisce and say, "Oh my God!" When you look, we're not fully aware of it, but when you're looking at them, they're completely they're doing whatever they're doing. There's no thinking about the past, no anticipating of the future, no self-condemnation. They see something, they play with it, they drop it, they play with something else, So there is that kind of consciousness, Now, so what we have to, we become mature, but we want to get back to something like that kind of consciousness where we stop finding fault, cut it out, stop finding fault with ourselves, stop finding fault with other people, and somehow to have that kind of peace of mind, Now, there are people who have achieved that. Great souls, great people. People who are maybe saints, I don't know, but these are people who've achieved that inner peace. You see it, for example, in Asia, you see it in Europe, you see it in the United States. There are people, and they have a special quality. Have you ever noticed? They look quite. You can spot somebody who's really quite peaceful. There's something different about them. Have you ever seen anybody like that?
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of people say that I'm like that because I'm more open to, and I'm found. Of course, it took a while to learn how to do it, but I learned to find peace in myself.
Exactly. It's a glorious thing. It's a wonderful thing, In any case, look, if anybody wants to know more about this, let me suggest that they take a look at my book. I think it might give them a real handle as to how to achieve that. It requires some. It's not a chicken soup approach, It requires a little thinking. But if you're serious about being at peace with yourself, I think it might be a great help to you. And so it's more detailed, even case studies. I show where people, have different kinds of problems and how we approach them. That sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And also, and so what I do now is I do coaching individually, and I do group coaching, that sort of a thing. And so.
Now, where can they find out? Or how can they get a hold of you if they wanted to do that coaching?
Okay, well, they can just call me at 631-424-0699. 0202. Or get my book, and I think the information is in the back of the book if you want to find out about it. Which, take a look at the book, and it can help you. But if you want, and if they want to talk to me personally, if they want to do that, they can also do that.
Okay, and where can people buy the book?
Well, they can buy it at Amazon. They can buy it at Barnes and Noble. They can buy it at iUniverse. Maybe iUniverse would be the best way to go. And you can order the book. It's in hardcover, it's softcover, and also they have it in ebook. Anyway, take a look at it. I think it can make a difference.
All right, and I'll make sure that I post a link to where people can buy the book and everything like that up on the show's website. So I want to thank you for being a great guest. I mean, we got 5 minutes, but I want to get into what we got coming next week. But I want to thank you for coming on the show and everything like that. People definitely want to check out your book and everything like that. And
well, thanks for having me, Phil.
Yeah, it was definitely a pleasure of having you on the show and everything. So what we got coming up for next week on Talking the Night, it's all up on talkingthenight.weebly.com. You can find out about the shows coming up. This Friday night, we have open lines where you can call in, ask me a question, or tell me your stories and everything like that. And then, of course, next week, we're going to get into eliminating toxins and feeling good again, as far as like toxins that we put in our body, the food that we eat, stuff like that. Then, of course, Tuesday night, we're going to be talking on Ask Paranormal Phil, which is a Facebook Live show on the Talking the Night Facebook page. We're going to get into aliens and UFOs, and we're going to welcome my friend Chad Meek, and we're going to talk a little bit about his movie Giant Rock the movie. And of course, Wednesday night's guest, we're going to be talking with somebody that used to work in the NASA field, as in the civilian and military sector of the NASA, but now she is an author, and we're going to get into a little bit about the shuttle disasters. Not too much, but we're going to get more into her book series, Division 1, The Urban Legend of MIB. So if you want to find out more about the show or my guest tonight, go to talkingthenight.weebly.com. All the information's up there. And once again, I want to thank Peter for coming on the show. Great guest. And great talking with you.
Same here, Phil. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, sorry about the miscommunication about the time earlier. But yeah, we worked it out. So, all right, thank you again for coming on the show. And so until next week, until Friday night when I have open lines, I want to let everybody know, have a good night, and I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.